Congressman, it's always nice to have you. Is the Trump tariff plan showing early success? And what do you think he means by giving some countries a break?
Well, I think it is showing signs of early success. Of course, there was all the gnashing of teeth and the crying and the whining. The stock market went down for 2 days. Now it's up. And of course, when it went down for a couple of days, everybody thought the end of the world was coming. Now that it's back up, they can't see that. You know, the mainstream media can't even be bothered with that. And you see the result of these companies coming back to the United States of America. Chris, when I was growing up, every little town where I lived had some industry. And over the course of my lifetime, all those industries closed up and moved overseas. That's the result of leftist policies and swamp policies hollowing out America. The president doesn't agree with that, and he's working quickly and diligently to turn that around. What he means by, maybe we'll be a little nicer. Look, he knows that some places it's not going to work out exactly the way we'd like it to. For instance, we don't grow a lot of coffee. We don't grow a lot of cocoa beans. I happen to represent Hershey, Pennsylvania, and a company called Starbucks on the East Coast here. And we need the coffee and the cocoa beans. So I think the president will treat those countries a little differently. But we certainly don't have to buy, cheese from Canada or lumber from Canada and pay a 300% tariff. We have cows and we have trees in the United States, and we don't have to put up with that crap from, our allies. We're tired of being abused while we defend the world, and President Trump is going to do something about it, and that's what you're seeing.
Yeah, amen. And I'm kind of a fan of, hey, look, if you don't want to be tariffed, don't tariff us. It's simple. Yeah. Just drop your tariffs. Everything's going to be cool. Let's talk about the big, beautiful overspending bill now. In your opinion, will this bill reduce the rate of overspending in real and verifiable dollars? And then after that, will the Republican Party break this cycle of the last 28 years and, do an actual real budget for 2026 on time as is required by law?
Well, I'm glad you put it that way, because you're exactly right. Since 1996, I think, is the last time the process actually worked here. And so this town has gotten used to, a few people in a back room deciding how the country spends all of your tax money for the whole year, and then you're forced to vote on it. So I think that we are going to get some spending reductions in this big, beautiful bill. We've got to get it across the finish line. But people like me have told our colleagues, look, we didn't come here to bankrupt the United States of America or the people that pay the taxes in America. And we've got to signal to the financial markets that we're not going to keep on spending money that we don't have. As you know, the bond markets have been terrible. Interest rates for housing have followed that. They've been really high. People can't afford houses. And of course, everything that follows is also high priced. We have to start that cycle right here in Washington, D.C. of fiscal restraint. We can't keep on spending $2 trillion, $3 trillion more a year than we take from the American people. And we can't especially spend it on stupid stuff that gets us nowhere and we can't afford and nobody wants. And so that's where we are right now. I think they had a good meeting at the White House today. The president's on board. He's the one that says he wants to balance the budget. Imagine that. Shouldn't that have been congressional leaders for the last 25 or 30 years? Does it take take the president to come in and say it? Well, okay. Like, for those of us who wanted to do it all this time, now we got the president on our side. We were never going to have Barack Obama or Joe Biden on our side with that, because they didn't care how much money they spent. But we do have this president, and I think he's going to be able to force other Republicans who like to go out and say it to actually do it.
Yeah, Barack Obama is even on America's side, so balancing the budget, he wasn't on the side of that, definitely. I only got about a minute left, Congressman, but I want you to address these rogue judges. To the Republican Party's credit, articles of impeachment have been filed against many of these lawless, unconstitutional district judges. And where I support the impeachment process to focus the nation on the problem, the very real problem of judicial tyranny, Congress does have the power to limit these judges through statute as well. Yes. Is this parallel track underway as far as you know?
It is underway. I think impeachment's going to be a tall order. Let's face it, we're not going to get Democrats in the Senate to vote to impeach Democrat judges that are trying to stop Trump, right? That's probably not going to happen. But there are other remedies that are moving forward to constrain these nationwide injunctions by these judges. That they're not put in place to do nationwide injunctions on the commander-in-chief who is invoking his duties as commander-in-chief. It's like some judges saying, well, I don't agree with your troop array. I don't agree with your mobilization order. That's none of their business. But of course, they stepped into it. We've had enough, and so we're going to be kind of seeking A, to send a message to them, but B, to actually do something to rein them in and keep them in their lane. We understand the separation of powers, but apparently they don't.
Yeah, well, Congressman, just the process of impeaching one of these judges, maybe Boasberg,
Right.
would be enough to focus the country. Even though you won't get the votes, you're right. There aren't enough pro-American Democrats in the Senate who believe in the Constitution, you're right. But the process of bringing the country along, showing what the checks and balances system of the Constitution are all about, it would actually be a good lesson for the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who has apparently forgotten what balance of power in the Constitution is all about and the checks and balances system. And so it'd be a good refresher course for him. Congressman Scott Perry, sir, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.